Are you stuck in life and you really want to move forward? Well, today I'm going to talk about healing and action. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Now, if you want a topic specifically that you want me to talk about, please leave it in the poll below in the comments so that I can talk about that for you. So, I want to share a bit of story on this. And what I really want to say is I always value healing. I always value it. I'm a breathwork practitioner. I know people go through some really harsh things in life. So I just want to be really clear. I also want to talk about action because I think it's really important as well. Action is when you're moving forward, moving towards your dreams. Activity is when you're doing something again and again as well, by the way. So action is something one-off. Activity is something again and again. So I remember going through quite tough dating situations, breakups, relationship stuff. And it took me a while to socialize again. It took me a while to get back on track with my health. And whilst I was really sad, and I felt like I lost something and all my abandonment wounds and stuff would come up. It was I was taking too long to actually take action on things. Now, of course, maybe there's a couple of days, a few days, a week, and depending on your situation, maybe it's a bit longer where you don't want to move too much. You need to lie down. You're really tired. Maybe you have to do a little bit of work or whatever, but you just you really need to feel into what's gone through. I totally get that. Where I've seen a blockage in my own life and in many people's life is when the excuse I'm healing stops people from taking action when actually they need to start moving forward. Now, I'm not here to tell you when that is. I'm just going to ask you the question, right? People I've known have even shared with me that they've had maybe as a relationship breakup or I'll use different example, personal and professional ones as well. Obviously I'd never give anyone specific situation either, but I've heard situations where people have for a few years, they've not dated, not gone out there and their relationship ended, even though actually they wanted to. They were I'm healing, and they've been healing for years. For me, that's an excuse. It's not that it's invalid. It's not that you need to feel into those things. You 100% do. There's a point though that actually it's just fear of getting hurt again. And I've totally been there. I put off dating before in my life when it was I'm just working on myself. It got to a certain point. You're no, you just need to get out there again. Right. So, but for me, it was also health. It's also been socializing in the past, right? I was talking to a friend about this the other day, and that's why I decided to talk about this, because he's a really good coach out there. And he was talking about people not working on their business because they're healing from something. I'm just healing. I'm working through this thing, whether it's personal, professional, in their life. And he was just no, you just need to go out there. And then his clients were so happy that he challenged them and kicked them to do it. Now, he was of course, do the healing work alongside this, but it's you get to a point where actually you do need to take action or activity when it's repeated action. I've seen it in the coaching industry, and one of my biggest, annoyances in the coaching industry is when coaches do not walk their talk. I've seen coaches being I want to get out there, I want to coach people. I'm too afraid to put myself on video. I've been working through some rough rejections. It's if a coach was like that to me, I just wouldn't work with them personally, because I know they're not taking action. If they had the intention to get out there and start making videos, and they weren't, right? There comes a point where, and I appreciate everyone's got different fears and things, there comes a point where healing, and again, I'm trying to be really clear here, because people might be I'm healing, You don't realize, right? Okay, I want to be. I'll say this then. Like, obviously, if say you've just lost someone very close to you, going out and working on your business the next day, or even next week, even next month, totally understandable. Like that, you're not going to do that. Like, yeah, you're healing. You're grieving. Like, you're working for a lot of things. What I'm talking about is when months pass, a year passes, or years pass in some cases, where you're like, I'm still healing, I'm not going to take action yet. I've heard someone say to someone like, are you ready to get out there dating? When they broke up with someone a year ago. That's ridiculous. Of course they're ready to get out there dating, right? It doesn't mean it's not going to hurt and it's not going to be tough, and doesn't mean that they're still not working through things. But honestly, ask yourself, are you using healing as an excuse rather than something naturally you need to do, which it is, but it can be used as an excuse as well. So I always believe healing and action and activity at the same time, working yourself, working your mind, feeling into what you need to whilst taking the action and the activity. I've been totally guilty of it. And that's why I'm sharing it today, because I don't want you, if you're someone who's stuck and doing the same things again and again, I don't want you to be using excuses. I want you to work on yourself. I want you to heal. I want you to feel good. I also want you to take action even if it's scary, because that's true courage. So here's a few steps that I think is really helpful. So do the healing. Put time in to do the healing every single day. I made a recent episode about like the inner world and working in your inner world every single day. Put healing as part of that. What is healing to you? There's different modalities. Breath work is my most powerful one because it goes into the body. And I'm a breathwork practitioner if you ever want to talk about doing a session together, and it's very reasonable as well. So there's breath work, there's meditation. You really meditate into how you're feeling. You could journal how you're feeling. You could get a coach and you can work on it. You could get a therapist or a hypnotherapist or something like that. So doing the healing is a really key one. The second one, know the action. Know what action you need to take, and just make it in the small steps. So it's like you want to work on your business, but you've been hurt recently. Okay, so what's the one thing you need to do today? What's the one thing tomorrow, right? Maybe it's to go to a network event. Maybe it's to update your funnel, like your marketing funnel. Maybe it's to reach out to 50 people who are interested in what you're doing, right? So simple steps and just like picking one thing. And then the third thing is know the balance between the two where you are. And I'll go back to what I said. Say someone you've lost someone close to you. The proportion of healing to action is going to be higher in healing. Understandable, right? But say you're like in a place where, you broke up with someone and it's like 6 months later, I would suggest, you're going to have a pretty, maybe, depends, maybe a rough, even between healing and action, right? But you may be at a place where you're actually feeling pretty good, right? Or you don't feel like triggered as much or down as much. Your action is probably going to be a lot. And then maybe you get a little bit tired. You maybe get a bit overloaded. Maybe the healing goes up a little bit, right? So knowing yourself, what is the balance between taking action and healing is a really, really key one as well. Just gauging that at each point where you are. Like I say, again, if you're at the beginning of you've either lost someone, lost a relationship, lost a job, lost a business, well, probably with a business and a job, you need to take action because you need to get money back straight away. Well, that depends on your financial situation, right? Again, knowing your own healing and action taking, right? Like if any of those things you lost and you got the opportunities to have time in yourself, you probably want to do a lot more healing, right? And then as you go through, you're going to be able to take a little bit more action. Now, I've got a final point I want to share with you, and it's a very simple one. It probably won't surprise you either. But I just want to mention again that if you want a specific topic on this podcast, then you can drop it in the notes below. In the poll below, in the comments. My final point for you would be this. Get yourself a coach, because a coach is going to allow you to talk through things, and a real coach is going to call you out and stuff, not a scared coach, not an amateur coach, someone who's really going to call you out, is going to be able to actually ask you those tough questions. Like, are you really fearful? Are you really healing, or are you just not taking the action? They're going to ask you those kind of questions. They're going to ask you where you are, right? So that's what I got for you today. I really just wanted to talk about the importance of healing and action. They're both important, 100%. Yeah, don't hold yourself back by using excuses, right? So thank you again. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.